Hello friends. I'm going to look to tackle the area of mental health, which I know a lot of people want me to talk about. I'm going to do this over a number of videos, and in this particular video, I'm going to give you a bit of background to my own journey. There are so many things that we can do to help our mental health, both mental, emotional, spiritual, physical. And right now, I'm going to give you a bit of background of what happened to me, so that you'll know the place that I'm speaking into. So all of my life, I'd never had any mental health issues at all. I'd always had a fairly clear mind. I'd been motivated. I'd been a happy type of person. When I got sick at the start of 2015, I burnt out, was later diagnosed with Lyme disease or chronic fatigue like symptoms and all that sort of stuff. The doctors wanted to put me on an anti-anxiety medication, which I did not want to do. And they said to me, you've got anxiety, this and that. I knew I didn't. It was my body having burnt out, and it was causing anxious feelings in my body, and my body just wasn't quite functioning right. But I listened to the doctors. They said this is good for fatigue as well. So I'd gone on these tablets. Anyway, over the years, I'd sort of got worse with my health, and in 2017, I wasn't doing fantastic, but I wanted to get off of that medication because I don't like medication at all. And I went to see a psychiatrist so that I could tick off a form to return to work. And what happened, she actually took me off this medication. It was Cymbalta, or duoxetine, 60 milligrams. She reduced me to 30 immediately, and then 2 weeks later took me off it altogether. That was a disaster, because the withdrawals were terrible as it was, but following that, they were okay, they were bearable, but following that, I got post-acute withdrawal symptoms, which is apparently common with this medication. And later I went onto a Facebook group which showed that no, you have to taper very slowly off this, it's very dangerous. I lost the ability to sleep. I went down to 2 to 3 hours a night sleep. For about 2 months, I went 1 week where I was sleeping 1 hour a night. And the whole rest of the night, my body was in an adrenaline state where it just couldn't be still. And because my health had been so bad physically as well, I was worried that my body was shutting down. And having come off the medication so quickly, and having those post-acute withdrawal symptoms, I for the first time in my life, I had mental health issues that I was experiencing, and I felt like I was dying. I felt out of control of my mind, which was scary. It was like a dark cloud sort of over me. It was feeling anxious about anything, thinking no one could convince me that I wasn't dying. I'd convinced myself my body was shutting down. Something seriously went wrong during this period of time, and it was only when the doctor actually, was the last resort for me. I thought my life was finished, and he put me on Valium, which I very reluctantly accepted to do. And over 6 weeks, I went on it and came off it, and that was enough to sort of just stabilize my mind. And at that point, I had to resume the medication as well, which was really frustrating for me. Following that period of time, and I was in a relationship where my partner, she was really struggling with what was going on physically in me as well. And prior to that, she'd had insomnia for the last 1.5 years because of what I was going through. It was just a mess. So I had that to deal with as well. But following that period of time and going through the breakdown of the engagement for those reasons and stuff, and going through all of that, sadness and heartbreak, coming out of that at the end of 2018 and sort of towards the start of 2020, and then now into this year, my mind has become so relaxed and sharp. My emotional state is just, I hardly actually have a bad day emotionally, and if I do, I recover it very quickly. And I'm going to share in some of the upcoming videos what I've actually learned and why this has happened. A few things to note was that when I was sick, when I was experiencing this anxiety, people wanted to label me. Everyone around me was saying, you've got anxiety or you've got depression. And even at my lowest of lows, where I could hardly control my mind and I was having panic attacks for the first time in my life, I said, no, I don't. I will not label myself like that. I will not define myself like that. I said that I am experiencing anxious states of mind right now. I'm struggling to see a way out of this, but I do not have anxiety. I do not have depression. I will not be given a diagnosis of anxiety disorder. I reject it. It's a load of rubbish. Once you're labeled with a disorder, this is what you've got, and then that justifies what's wrong with you, and then you can stay in that place. So I said, nah, stuff that. That's not me. And then after that, going through a period of time where with my physical health, I couldn't actually look at electronic screens for more than 5 or 10 minutes. I couldn't catch up with friends. I couldn't hold a conversation. I couldn't watch TV. I couldn't read a book. I couldn't do a walk. I couldn't go out. I couldn't do anything. I was basically semi-housebound for a long period of time. And it was just me and my mind. And that was actually so incredibly challenging mentally and emotionally. But it was like a mental and emotional boot camp, which actually taught me so much about my mind. It taught me about the mechanisms of the mind, and it helped me to develop such a calm and stable mind and emotional state, because the way that I started looking at things was so different. I could understand why the mind does what it does, and I used this to my advantage. I also share about the spiritual side of things on my other channel, Lion of Fire Ministries. Plenty of videos on there, but on this particular channel, I'm talking about the mental, emotional, and physical side of things. A lot of people are going through mental health, and it's not about what you're going through. When I was going through it, I gained an empathy and understanding that this is hard. People go through this. It's not necessarily people's fault. Something can happen that this is going on. But what's important is what you do with it. There are things that you can do to get better. There are things that you can be eating to get better diet, things that you can be cutting out, physical exercise, reading and learning about the mind, putting good stuff into your mind, getting off of things like social media, just surrounding yourself with positive people. And I'm going to speak about this more in the upcoming videos, and I'm going to go into some detail about some of the mechanisms of the mind as well. I'm planning to do that. But I'm very understanding of people that are going through mental health issues. But the question is, what are you doing about it? And it may take longer for some people to get out of it than other people, and that's perfectly okay. But you just want to be doing the right steps to move forward each day. If you're not doing the right steps, and if you're labeling yourself as stuck in this position, you're going to get nowhere. And there's nothing I can say to help you. So I hope in these upcoming videos that you can really be open-minded and hear what I have to say as someone who has gone through the lowest of lows and come out the other side to the highest of highs. You may not come out to that point exactly, but there is so much improvement that you can make, and I'm going to talk about that more in the upcoming videos. I look forward to talking to you all soon. Take care.